So what are you the most excited about now? I mean, in your work, and what really like area of study kind of makes you most interested? Like excitement, smile, like joyful.
It would be my current exploration of the sutras out of the Dzogchen tradition and how it compares to the neuropsychological insights that are based on quantum physics, because they nest together in a very beautiful way. And so in terms of the intellectual territory or spiritual territory that is most exciting to me, that's it at the moment. Talk to me a month from now, it'll probably be different. I would say that every human being on the planet is a unique individual. And the treasure lies in each individual person. And I think that the different traditions of spiritual lineages and have something to offer, but I think we have to sift, like when you're panning for gold, you sift, and you sift the dogma from the authenticity. And the true gold, the true treasure, is the living mystery of every human being. And so everyone on the planet is part of the living mystery, and they have the gold within them, and that's where the mining is best taking place.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And they ended the interview with a cosmic laugh.
No,
you seemed like a loss for words there.
No, I was just tuning into, the expansiveness of it and the.
That's very expansive.
And feeling you as you get out of the way of it all, and I am curious about the Hathors themselves, though. Like,
okay, what do you want to know?
Like, how do they dress? How do they look to you? What are they? I mean, are they male, female, or?
Yes, they have gender. When they're in their anthropomorphic form, they have two forms. When they are condensed, they have a human-like form. Although their heads, they have wide heads and narrow chins and large ears. When they have an interaction with each other that we would call sexual, the sexual energy is transmitted through light.
Through light. Do they merge their bodies?
They merge their bodies as fields of energy. And
is that pleasurable?
they say it's an ecstasy beyond what we operate in. And they say that what we call ecstasy is their lowest emotional state.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't even relate to that. I mean, it sounds very cool, but...
That sounds great.
Yeah, right.
So they merge and they exchange light.
Yeah, and that creates a new
being.
And when that being is born, they sing what's called the Song of Highest Destiny to that.
They sing a song of highest destiny.
And what that is, that they believe that they create a sound that helps that being to move through his or her life in whatever dimension they're in, to help them overcome the challenges that they'll face in the future. So when the baby is born, they have a sense of the future, and so they sing a song to the baby that's encoded within the consciousness.
It's not a name, though. It's like a signature in a sense. Would you say?
You mean the song?
The song. It's not.
Yeah, there's no name.
It's
something they sing, and it's different for everyone.
Wow. And what do they wear? I mean, I know that's kind of material, but what do they look?
Well, of course they wear the latest Calvin Klein.
Do they have traditional robes?
Yes, right.
We could design Hathor wear.
Yes, we could, and God.
No, but I'm just curious. How do they show?
They show, when I see them, they're in their anthropomorphic forms. They have
anthropomorphic. You mean?
Yeah, human-like.
Okay,
form.
human-like form.
They are wearing robes.
Okay.
Or I see them as fields of light.
And where are they located? Like dimension? Like, is there a planet? Is there?
No, let's have the imaginary box.
Right. I know. This has all been imaginary to a lot of us.
So
I know. We're just playing. But if they were, I know. We have the imaginary box where, like, you could believe this or not.
Right.
But We'll just
And
play.
so, according to them, they live in a universe
Mm-hmm.
that is parallel to ours, and they say that universes are nested like eggs in a carton.
Mm-hmm.
And they traveled into this universe at the request of an Arcturian by the name of Sanat Kumara. Interestingly enough, the idea of universes stacked like eggs, I came across many years ago through the work of Itzhak Bentov, who was a brilliant engineer.
Right,
So we had
Stalking the
same
Wild
experience.
Pendulum.
Yes, right.
Yes.
That's a great little book.
Yeah.
Anybody who's in consciousness, I think that's a great book to read. So we had a similar experience with this cosmos.
The
So
multiverse sort of, and the
multiverse.
string theory sort of takes some of that, doesn't it? Anyway,
Yeah.
so the stacked universe, and Sanat Kumar brought them into this universe.
I invited them to come in because of the quality of balance that they had.
Uh-huh.
And they went to Venus. They went through the portal of Sirius and went to Venus. And so when they first told me this was years ago. I was, yeah, right. You know,
I don't know.
Venus
Anything's
is
possible at this
gas.
point.
It's burning gas in Venus, not a habitable place. They said, no, and we're in another dimension.
Yeah.
So they say essentially they are as a collective, they're in the 5th through the 9th dimensions. And then they have beings who are higher up, and those are their spiritual,
They're teachers.
their teachers.
Right.
So the continuum, Hathorville,
Sounds like a
is from
Dr. Seuss story.
exactly, is between the 5th and the 9th dimension.
Those are your beings,
Right.
your guides, and
Yeah.
they're on a whole universe of populated universe. I mean, the Hathors are one planet or one race of beings, or
Yes, in the universe.
and there's lots of other beings.
Yes.
And you've met other beings, right?
Oh, yes.
You've met angels. Who else have you met?
Arcturians.
The Arcturians of from this universe, right?
Yes.
What are they like, the Arcturians?
Warriors.
Warriors.
They are powerful, benevolent, intelligent
Yeah.
warriors. And what's interesting, and Sanat Kumar mentioned this in a book Judy and I wrote together when we channeled Arcturians, was that he was surprised that when the first Hathor vessel came into this universe, it had no armaments.
Oh, the Arcturian was surprised.
Because
Tell him to
Arcturians
get used to it.
have very powerful
Yeah.
weaponry
Uh-huh.
and use it as needed. So what happens for the Hathors is when when something occurs that they feel is a threat or isn't in their best interest, they pop to the next dimension.
Right.
That's how they deal with things. Arcturians draw the line in the sand and bring on the...
Who are they fighting, the Arcturians? Who are they? Who's the...
Well, according to Sanat Kumar, there's this universe that we live in is full of all types of alien intelligences. Some are positive and some are nasty.
Right, there's some neighborhoods you don't want to go to.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so the Arcturians help to protect this sector, as they call it.
But that brings up another question. It seems like the Earth is almost possessed by some of these darker realms that
Oh
are...
my God, yes.
Is that what you feel is going on?
Yes, I do.
These entities have, in a way, taken over people's minds and creates the wars and the religions and the destruction, because they're feeding these darker forces are feeding on the destruction and whatever.
Exactly. And in fact, the Arcturians call them the feeders.
Right.
There's a whole group of beings. They look at every alien intelligence that comes through in the terms of the primary quality they have. Is it benevolent or negative?
Right.
And they say there's a whole host of alien intelligences that are called feeders. And what happens? They feed off the negativity, the fear, the hatred, anger of people.
Right.
And so we're having Earth is a wonderful banquet right now for those.
So can we extract them? I guess that's the individual
That's
work.
the individual work, in my opinion.
It's to and in a way, that's when we get into a mood. I'm not saying you, but when we get into moods, those feeders are actually activating or feeding off our moods.
Oh yeah.
And so we have to take action to raise the frequency to transmute those types of mental states that we can get into.
Well, we don't have to do
We
anything.
don't have to do it, but it'd be nice.
But if we want
Yes.
to move upward,
Yes.
it's
Thank
the
you.
better choice.
Yeah, but is there anything planet-wide that we can do to just eradicate those forces, or does it? I mean, is it just?
I
mean,
have no idea.
I don't have any idea either, because
Others have not commented on that, and I personally don't have.
some people call those the Archons. The
Yes.
people, and have you met those Archons?
I know about them. I've not interacted with them.
So you choose to keep your vibration high, so you're just getting the beings that are at
That's
the...
all I'm interested in.
Yeah, of course.
As far as the information is from a certain vibratory field or higher.
Right. I think actually the people that are being controlled by those feeders aren't even conscious of those realms.
Usually not.
Right. So what's the best way, I mean, to keep our vibration high, to access this stream that most of us here watching are trying to move the planet into? What do you suggest from your experience?
I wish there was a simple answer.
Well, okay, give us the complex answer.
I think every moment is an evolutionary choice point. Mm-hmm. And what is odd to me is that sometimes the most important evolutionary choice point seems like the most insignificant choice in the smallest choices. So the choice we make in the moment to cross the street or not cross the street at that time, or to indulge an emotion or not, may seem insignificant. But when you look back at it, that choice was paramount.
Yeah.
And had huge reverberations.
Right.
And so you asked the question, and I'm in a moment of impoverishment because I'm exploring that.
Yeah, well,
so I don't have an answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not apologizing.
No.
I'm just explaining why I'm responding the way I do and the context for it.
Mm.
So the choice that you and I make in each moment, like this moment in our conversation, the choices that you make to ask the questions and how I respond may seem insignificant at that moment, but for the people watching this, it may have opened up territory that they needed to open up for their next evolutionary step, or not. It's so complex. There's no simple answer, but I do agree with the Hathors, despite the various arguments I've had with them intellectually about some of their positions, because I've seen the research and the neurology is clear. When we are in a state of appreciation or gratitude, our brains function at a higher level, and it gives us access to other dimensions of consciousness that lock down when we are not in those states.
Right, and there's something about following our intuition and feelings, and I'm just curious, what do you argue with the Hathors about? What's your big...
Oh, many things.
'Cause
when they give messages, sometimes Judy and I have dialogues about, after they give a message, and Judy takes everything down verbatim, we have this post-session, and sometimes we talk to them right after they finish the session. But I will go back to them and say, you said this, but
what's one thing that you really didn't like?
The latest Hathor message.
What, you didn't like the latest? What did they say?
Well, the latest Hathor message was about angels, on the nature of angels. And I had agreed to do a workshop about angels. And they came in and said, would you do a world meditation? And explained their experience of angelic beings, which is, they're not all with fluffy wings. They're energy beings, electromagnetic fields of intelligence. And some of them their energy fields look like they have wings.
Right.
So there's this whole class of beings, and they explored that in their message. And what they wanted to do was another world meditation for people to work with the angelic realm in order to raise the vibrational state of humanity collectively so that we could make the shift to recognize that Earth must be dealt with in a spirit of stewardship so that life and evolution could be protected, because right now it's threatened through the ecological collapse, where some scientists say that we have actually entered what's called the sixth mass extinction.
And you disagreed with that?
No, I agreed. I agreed with the mass extinction.
But you didn't want to be the mass...
I didn't want to be the one to hold that large an energy again, because it's very, very big when I step into holding a world meditation.
Is it exhausting for you?
It's many things. It's mostly elevating, but it's very challenging. But the reason I had a question for them was because I've questioned a lot about these beings that live in other dimensions of consciousness.
Yeah.
they're not omniscient.
They don't know everything.
They don't know everything. And
Right.
the Hathors have even said, we don't know everything.
Okay.
We just have a different perspective.
Yeah.
But so the problems facing the Earth are so massive.
Right.
And the ecosystem is literally, as we know it, collapsing.
Yes.
I actually, after the message was over, I said, so this world meditation you want to have, and you want me to step into this again and be a nexus point for all this massive energetic. Can it really have an effect?
Okay, that's a
And I
valid
said,
question.
And I said 1 to 5%.
They said 1 to 5%, and you said, I'm not working for that.
I said, those aren't very high odds.
Yeah.
And they said, it's better than nothing.
Wow.
That was their response.
Wow.
So all that this global meditation is to introduce a vibratory field through everybody who's participating, and that will emanate out to everybody through the web of life. And human consciousness, as collectively, we just have to come up to recognize we can't pollute the place we live in. We have to protect life and change how we are living life.
Right.
And so there's a 1 to 5% chance, Hathors by their calculation. And so I said, okay, you're right. It's better than nothing. So I'm on board.
Well, thank
But
you.
at the beginning, when they first gave it, I said, I'm not sure I want to do that.
I'm not your guy. Find someone else.
Right.
And, well, thank you. I'm thanking you for the planet for doing that. There's no... time is still relative to them. They can't see the future the way that beings beyond time supposedly can, where there is no time. I mean, they're saying they're working with a percentage that maybe this will, but so they don't see something beyond time.
Oh, God, yes.
They do.
Yeah.
But in this case, the Earth's condition, they can't see it.
In the third and fourth dimension, this physical world, and time as the fourth dimension, how they view it, and Arcturians agree. They hold these dimensions the same way. In the fifth and higher, things are more fluid, and there's possibilities that are far beyond what are possible to occur here.
Right.
But here where you and I live, and right now we're sitting in a little studio on the island of Manhattan.
Yeah.
And the ocean levels are slowly rising, and researchers have said, hello guys, the glaciers and everything are melting faster than we realized. So the ocean is going to encroach faster than we thought. At this level, the Hathors say, since you asked us what effect this will have, we can tell you between 1 and 5%. They were answering my question as an embodied human being living in this life. But when they if I ask the question from another dimension, the answer could be different.
So where each moment, what I get is that there's possible universes that, like you're saying, with each word and doing these types of will lead to a greater possibility that the Earth may move into a greater future.
Right. Well, I think the Earth is going to survive. The Earth will be fine.
It's human.
It's the question about human beings and other life forms.
Yeah.
I think the cockroaches will survive anything.
And share, they say. But, well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate, your work, and it's intense, isn't it? I mean, it's
intense and it's fun.
It's fun.
It's always interesting.
Yeah, you wouldn't be doing anything else, I suppose.
No, I'm unemployable at this point.
But you've created, I love the messages of the Hathors when I read them online, and it's great that you make it available for people to share, because I think I always learn something from them. And
me too. Every message is something, I learn something new from them.
I'm glad you and Judy are doing what you're doing, because it doesn't seem like it's about you. It's about...
God, no.
If it was your choice, you'd be sitting at home, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is, it's like this plane, the Earth plane, is the simplest plane of all. I mean, there's so much more going on so many levels, and this is just such a simple place in a way. I mean, this physical matter.
Right.
I mean, it's like, and there's so much more that we are capable of as human beings. That's what I'm excited about talking to you.
I agree with you about Earth is a very simple place, but there's also tremendous diversity and complexity in the simplicity. So the potential, you mentioned biophotonics, which is the emission of light from the cells of our bodies. As we change, the biophotonic fields will change. So matter will change from the inside out and also from the outside in.
Is this what people have called the Ascension, would you say?
Oh, God, there's so many definitions of what
Sorry,
Ascension is.
Sorry, I know that's an awful word. I'm sorry. I know. I cringe when I hear that, too. But
we have a shaman friend. From Mongolia, or his family's from Mongolia, and he calls it Ascension.
Yeah.
And he says, I wish that everyone who wants to ascend
get
off Earth, so those of us who want to live our life can proceed.
No, I agree with you. That word's like overused, and it's gone out with the New Age and all that stuff. That was
so. The Hathors view of Ascension is very simply that every movement up in consciousness, vibratory expression, is an ascension. That's how they view it.
I only mention it because when you talk about the biophotonic emanations, as we increase the light from the inside, we actually start to radiate that out of our bodies.
Yes.
And so the pictures of Alex Gray, you know his work.
Yeah.
He's a good friend. He's been on this show. And so I think he's painting those levels of the body's frequency acceleration. We won't use the A word, but this acceleration.
Well, and this shows up in many spiritual traditions, the same thing as light, the auric field becomes intense. In Dzogchen, for instance, one of the signs of a Dzogchen master at death is the rainbow body.
Right.
And this has been documented, it's not hearsay, and literally the body, which is trapped light, becomes its own nature through the internal work of the path of Dzogchen, which embraces everything from a state of quantum intelligence. And at the moment of death, the cells of the body, the matter, reverts back to light, and it's visible, it's seen. And the body gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and it disappears. But the odd thing, and I haven't been able to ask any lama yet why this is the case, but what remains is the hair and the fingernails.
Oh,
everything else
because they say
returns to light.
Dead tissue or something like that. I don't know.
And so then those are used as relics, and they're put in stupas, and they radiate the quality and the energies of the person who's in the rainbow light body.
Yeah, I think that happened to Jesus. I think the shroud is evidence of that's life returning into the body, of the emanation. And I think, I totally agree with that. That's possible. And I think the planetary vibration is moving to a place where these bodies are less dense anyway.
Yeah, I think at some point that will occur.
Yeah, I think it's happening.
We're in the belt. It's happening.
It's in
I
the
wish
bell
it would
curve.
happen faster, but that's my impatience.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
We don't have to leave on your impatience, but thank you for your time. And thanks for being here and
Thank you, it's great.
And bringing in the Hathors and everything you're doing.
Thanks.
Your website is Tom Kenyon. Right.
And there's a lot of free content.
And there's a lot of things you'll be doing. I think the Hathors are saying. More. So I've been talking to Tom Kenyon for Newrealities. You can find him and the Hathors at tomkenyon.com. And if you want to reach me, go to my website, newrealities.com. I want to thank my producer, Terry Karanikas, and everyone else here at the station, Judy Coteen, and everybody else. Thanks for watching.